But our big story tonight, family and friends say a beloved Milwaukee public school teacher was gunned down Saturday morning.
Well, Christina, Milwaukee police, they believe that this shooting is domestic violence related. I had a chance to speak with the victim's sister. She says that her sister's ex-boyfriend actually followed her and then shot her 15 times.
A Milwaukee man is now charged, accused of gunning down his ex-girlfriend. That is 52-year-old Kenny Knight on your screen, being held in the Milwaukee County Jail as he awaits his first court appearance.
This is the heartbreaking case of LaTanya Ford, a beloved teacher from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, whose life was tragically cut short in July 2024. LaTanya's story is one of dedication to her students and resilience in the face of a toxic, abusive relationship. However, her decision to walk away from that relationship led to a devastating confrontation with her ex-boyfriend, Kenny Knight, who now faces charges of first-degree intentional homicide. Welcome to Urban Crime Stories. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe and turn on all notifications to be informed of future crime stories. LaTanya Ford was a 51-year-old woman who lived a life full of dedication to her family, her career, and her community. She was a mother of 2 children and a proud grandmother of 1. LaTanya was a teacher at Elm Creative Arts School, part of the Milwaukee public school system. Her passion for education was evident in how she connected with her students and inspired them to embrace their creativity. She wasn't just a teacher, she was someone who cared deeply for her students. Her love for crafts and her hands-on approach to teaching made her a beloved figure at the school. Colleagues and students alike described her as loving, warm, and committed. Whether it was making personalized t-shirts for special occasions or spending extra time with students who needed encouragement, LaTanya brought her heart into everything she did. Her ability to uplift those around her was one of the reasons she had such a profound impact on her community. This impact was felt most profoundly after her tragic death. On July 7, 2024, just one day after she was shot and killed in a domestic violence incident, more than 100 people gathered for a balloon release at the very intersection where her life was taken. Friends, family, colleagues, and former students came together to honor her memory. They wore purple, which was LaTanya's favorite color, as a symbol of their love for her and the void left in their lives.
She didn't deserve it.
Amid a heavy downpour, with even heavier hearts, LaTanya Ford's family and friends showed up to show love.
Those who spoke at the vigil remembered LaTanya not just as a teacher, but as a friend, a mother, and a person who was always willing to give her time to others.
To take somebody so important away that had so much resources to help the community is senseless. I'm angry and I want to know why he took my sister's life.
LaTanya had been in a relationship with Kenny Knight, a 52-year-old man, for about 7 or 8 years. From the outside, it might have seemed like a long-term partnership, but within, the relationship was marred by issues of domestic abuse. According to Cheryl Ford Ross, LaTanya's sister, the relationship was toxic, with Kenny often engaging in verbal abuse throughout their time together. Over the years, these tensions had built up, leaving LaTanya feeling trapped in an increasingly unhealthy situation.
Crazy boyfriend for 8 years. He didn't want her, but he didn't want anyone else to have her.
But by 2024, after enduring years of emotional and verbal mistreatment, LaTanya decided it was time to leave the relationship. Her sister, Cheryl, confirmed that LaTanya had recently made the decision to walk away, distancing herself from Kenny in an effort to find peace and safety. Little did they know that this decision would ultimately trigger the following devastating events.
Was this a situation you ever tried to remove her from?
She just recently removed herself from the situation. He followed her somewhere and he shot her senselessly 15 times.
On the morning of July 6, 2024, at around 8:49 a.m., LaTanya was on her way to pick up a friend, hoping to spend a peaceful day after having recently removed herself from a toxic relationship. However, that morning took a tragic turn when she encountered Kenny Knight, her former partner. LaTanya was sitting in her car near the intersection of North 58th Street and West Hampton Avenue when Kenny approached her. When she began to drive away, Kenny followed briefly before returning to his car and leaving the scene. Unable to accept the end of their relationship, Kenny confronted LaTanya and shot her multiple times. The attack happened swiftly. LaTanya was still inside her car when the bullet struck, and by the time first responders arrived, it was too late. LaTanya was pronounced dead at the scene just before 9 a.m. Detectives later recovered dozens of spent shell casings and shattered glass around the crime scene,
There was a situation where a lady was arguing with her boyfriend out in public. She tried to get in the car. Dude pulled out a gun and unloaded a clip, I guess, 12 shots.
An autopsy later revealed that LaTonya had been shot at least 22 times. This crime left LaTonya's family devastated and her community reeling, as many struggled to come to terms with the fact that someone so loved and cherished was taken in such a violent way. Not long after this discovery, around 9:24 a.m., Kenny walked into Milwaukee Police District 4 station and voluntarily turned himself in, telling officers, "Morning, boss. I am here to turn myself in. I just shot my girlfriend."
A 52-year-old male suspect turned himself into police custody. Authorities are not releasing his name, and he's not been charged.
Surveillance footage from the area corroborated his confession as it showed Kenny pulling up behind LaTonya's vehicle. During his interview with detectives, Kenny admitted that he and LaTonya had been in a relationship for about 8 years and had recently stopped living together. He provided a written statement to the police, explaining that he had been drinking before driving to LaTonya's location, where he saw her talking on the phone. In his note, Kenny confessed to approaching LaTonya's car, banging on the window and then firing multiple shots until his gun was empty. Kenny had a prior conviction for substantial battery dating back to 2002. It was clear that this was a premeditated act, fueled by his inability to let go of their relationship. The police immediately took Kenny into custody, where he was charged with first-degree intentional homicide, along with possession of a firearm by a felon. His past criminal record only added to the gravity of the situation. This charge carries severe consequences under Wisconsin law, with the possibility of a life sentence without the chance of parole. First-degree intentional homicide is the most serious charge for murder in Wisconsin, and it is reserved for cases where the act is premeditated. The prosecution's case against Kenny Knight was strong, given his admission to the crime and the fact that he turned himself in soon after the shooting. As the legal process began, the possibility of a life sentence without parole looms over Kenny. Wisconsin law does not have the death penalty, so the maximum punishment for his crime would be life imprisonment. This potential sentence would ensure that Kenny Knight would spend the rest of his life behind bars for the senseless act of violence that claimed LaTonya's life. But for now, his bond was set at $300,000, and the legal process is continuing as the case moves forward. LaTonya's family, while mourning her loss, also began seeking justice in the courtroom. The charges against Kenny, combined with the outpouring of community support, created a strong push to ensure that her death would not go unanswered. The trial proceedings were closely watched by the Milwaukee community, who wanted to see justice served for the teacher who had touched so many lives. What are your thoughts about this heartbreaking story? Please share your thoughts in the comments down below. Remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on all notifications so that you will not miss any future episodes. Your support is greatly appreciated. Until next time, I will see you with another episode of Urban Crime Stories.